Hello, children. Let us start with the second story from your book Hornbill. That is, We Are Not Afraid to Die If We Can All Be Together by Gordon Cook and Alan East. Notice these expressions in the text. Infer their meaning from the text. Honing our seafaring skills. Then ominous silence, mayday calls, pinpricks in the vast ocean, a tousled head. So we begin with the story. In July 1976, my wife Mary, son Jonathan, 6 years old, daughter Susanna, 7, and I set sail from Plymouth, England, to duplicate the round-the-world voyage made 200 years earlier by Captain James Cook. So it was in July of the year 1976 that the author, along with his wife Mary, their son Jonathan, who was 6 years old, and their daughter Susanna, 7, they set from Plymouth, England, to go on the round the world voyage which was made by Captain James Cook 200 years before. For the longest time, Mary and I, a 37-year-old businessman, had dreamt of sailing in the wake of the famous explorer. So he says that Mary and myself, that is, I am 37-year-old businessman, and I had always dreamt of sailing in the wake. Wake means to be aware, in the state of awareness of the famous explorer. Now, explorer means a person who travels in order to discover new land. He's talking about Captain James Cook, that we also wanted to sail across the world just like Captain James Cook. And for the past 16 years, we had spent all our leisure time. Leisure time means free time. So for the last 16 years, we had spent our free time honing our seafaring skills in British waters. Honing means perfecting, improving, and seafaring skills means living, having a life at sea. And in the British waters, we were moving around, practicing this, improving our skills. Our boat, Wave Walker, a 23-meter, 30-ton wooden hulled beauty. So the name of the boat is Wave Walker, and it is 23 meters long and 30 ton in weight, made up of wood. Wooden hulled means the body of the ship was made up of wood. Beauty, it looked very beautiful, had been professionally built, and we had spent months fitting it out and testing it with the roughest weather we could find. And it had been professionally built, and we spent many months fitting out the various parts, testing the boat by taking it out onto the sea in very bad weather also. The first leg of our planned 3-year, 105,000 kilometer journey passed pleasantly as we sailed down the west coast of Africa to Cape Town. So when they started on their journey in July 1976, the first leg means the first part of their journey, which would be for 3 years. The first 105,000 kilometers, it passed very happily as they sailed from the west coast of Africa to Cape Town. There, before heading east, we took on 2 crewmen, American Larry Vigil and Swiss Herb Segler. So before heading east from Cape Town, they took 2 new crewmen, that is, people who work on the ship, and one was American named Larry Vigil, and the other was a Swiss man named Herb Segler, to help us tackle one of the world's roughest seas, the Southern Indian Ocean. Now they took them over in order to help them. To tackle means to handle the roughest seas in the world, that is the southern part of the Indian Ocean. On our second day out of Cape Town, we began to encounter strong gales. So the second day, when they started out from Cape Town, they started to encounter means come to face with strong gales. Gales are very strong blowing winds. For the next few weeks, they blew continuously. Gales did not worry me, but the size of the waves was alarming, up to 15 meters, as high as our main mast. So he says the that for the next few weeks the strong winds they continue blowing, but he was not worried about the winds, but he was worried about the size of the waves of the water. They were huge. They were up to 15 meters height, as high as the main mast. Mast is the pole on the ship. They were higher than the main mast on the ship, on their boat. December 25th found us 3,500 kilometers east of Cape Town. Despite the atrocious weather, atrocious means the bad weather, we had a wonderful holiday complete with a Christmas tree. So 25th of December, that is on Christmas, they were about 3,500 kilometers on the eastern side of Cape Town. The weather was really bad, but they enjoyed the wonderful Christmas time they had with the Christmas tree. New Year's Day saw no improvement in the weather, but we reasoned that it had to change soon. And it did change for the worse. So from Christmas till the New Year's Day also the weather was the same. They just thought that it should change, and yes, it did change. The weather did change, but it became worse. It did not improve. At dawn on January 2nd, dawn means on the morning of 2nd of January, the waves were gigantic. Gigantic means huge. The waves were very huge, very tall. We were sailing with only a small storm jib. Now, jib is a triangular head sail. So they had a very small storm jib and were still making 8 knots. Now, knot is the unit of speed. So they were covering just 8 knots in the sea. As the ship rose to the top of each wave, we could see endless, enormous seas rolling towards us. Enormous means huge. So as the ship was rising to the top of each waves, there were many huge waves in the sea, and the ship was moving up and down with the waves. They could see the huge sea rolling towards us, moving towards them, and the screaming of the wind and spray was painful to the ears. And the screaming of the wind means there was a lot of noise. Now here the wind is being personified as a human being who screams. So there was a lot of noise made by the strong winds, and the spray of the water, it was really painful for the ears to hear. To slow the boat down, we dropped the storm jib and lashed a heavy mooring rope in a loop across the stern. So in order to slow down the boat, what did they do? They dropped the storm jib. Jib, I told you, it is the triangular head sail to control them in the storm. And lashed means to throw it out. Lashed, that is blow, you can say, blew a heavy mooring rope. Mooring means to fix firmly. A heavy rope in order to fix the boat firmly in a loop, in the form of a loop across the stern. The stern is the back portion of the ship. Then we double lashed everything. So the double lashed everything went through a life raft drill, attached lifelines, donned oilskins and life jackets, and waited. So they double lashed everything. They went through the life raft drill in which they had to protect their lives by moving on the rafts. They attached their lifelines. They donned means they put on their oilskins and they put on their life jackets, and they just waited for the impending disaster. The first indication of impending disaster, impending means which was waiting for them, disaster means total destruction, came at about 6 p.m. with an ominous silence. Ominous means threatening silence. So finally they were waiting for the moment when they would be nearly destroyed, and that happened at 6 p.m. in a frightening silent way. The wind dropped, the wind stopped blowing, and the sky immediately grew dark. The sky was overcast with dark clouds. Then came a growing roar, and an enormous cloud towered aft of the ship. Then there was a huge roaring sound, and a huge cloud towered aft of the ship. Aft is again the that is towards the back of the ship, a huge cloud. It was high above the back of the ship. With horror, I realized that it was not a cloud. And then he realized that it was not a cloud in the sky, but a wave like no other I had ever seen. So that huge cloud which he thought it was not a cloud, but it was a huge wave which he had not seen till now. It was so big. It appeared perfectly vertical. It was absolutely directly above them in a vertical position and almost twice the height of the other waves with a frightening breaking crest. And it was double the height of the other waves in the sea, and it was frightfully making a move towards them, and a breaking crest. Crest is the topmost part of the wave. The roar increased to a thunder as the stern moved up the face of the wave. So initially the sound of the wave was roaring. It increased, the sound increased, and it appeared to be like thundering sound as the stern moved up. The stern means the back portion of the ship moved up towards the face of the wave, and for a moment I thought we might ride over it. So for a moment he thought that the boat might just sail over it. But then a tremendous explosion shook the deck. But then there was a huge explosion and the whole deck of the ship was nicely shaken up. A torrent of green and white water. Torrent means a heavy downpour of green and white water. It broke over the ship. That means the wave, it just broke over the ship. My head smashed into the wheel and I was aware of flying overboard and sinking below the waves. Then he says that he remembers that his head, it smashed into the wheel, and then he was aware that his body was flying overboard, that is out of the deck of the ship, and it was sinking in the waves of the sea. I accepted my approaching death, and as I was losing consciousness, I felt quite peaceful. Then in his mind he accepted that he is going to die, and as he was becoming unconscious, he felt very peaceful and calm. Unexpectedly, my head popped out of the water, and suddenly he came back to his senses. And what did he realize? That his head was out of the water. That means he was safe. He was not unconscious anymore. A few meters away, Wave Walker was near capsizing. So a few meters away from him, he could see his boat. The name of the boat is Wave Walker. It was near capsizing, means it was about to overturn. Her mast, that is the poles on the ship, they were almost horizontal with the surface of the water. Then a wave hurled her upright. Then there was a huge wave, and it threw with great force the boat into an upright position. My lifeline jerked taut. I grabbed the guardrails and sailed through the air into the wave walker's main boom. Then he grabbed the guardrails of his boat and he sailed through the air and entered into the wave walker's main boom. Subsequent waves tossed me around the deck like a rag doll. So there were many waves of the sea water, and they turned him from side to side around on the deck of the boat just like a rag doll. That is a doll which is stuffed with cloth. My left ribs cracked, my mouth filled with blood and broken teeth. And because he was tossed and turned over the deck like a doll, he cracked his ribs, his mouth was full of blood with his broken teeth. Somehow I found the wheel, lined up the stern for the next wave and hung on. But somehow he managed to find the wheel of the ship. He lined up the stern, that is the back portion of the ship, for the next wave and hung on tightly to the wheel. Water everywhere. I could feel that the ship had water below, but I dared not abandon the wheel to investigate. So he could just see water everywhere around it, and he felt that the ship even had water below. but he did not abandon, he could not dare to give up or to leave the wheel of the ship in order to find out. Thank you. In the next part, I will complete the story.